Hello friends, Steve Cross here, introducing the second episode of Squishy Goblins, my special Dungeons & Dragons homebrew version, which allows me as Dungeon Master to just inflict incredible amounts of ultra-violence on our players, Sam, Faz and Caterina. Our players, let's not forget, they've got to go and destroy science. They've just been fully equipped by the powerful wizard who's going to help them, and they've chosen to attack the world of science from the air. Squishy Goblins.
Okay, he says, it sounds like we're all prepared. It's important to us that this happens quickly and that science is rid from the world. He snaps his fingers. As you know, the anti-magic field of the science extends 1,000 feet. So you are 1,001 feet in the air above a peninsula. Sam, you are surrounded by 60 bags of rocks. Your goblin arms are so short you can't reach any of them, but you will all be falling together and it will be beautiful. Faz, you are surrounded by 60 bags of rocks. The bags are on fire. Obviously, the rocks aren't. The fires go out immediately because there's massive amounts of air rushing past them. You also have a parachute strapped to your back. Feel free to pull the cord at any time. Caterina, you have also appeared in the air with 4 bags of rocks around you. You can't reach them. And in fact, they're just clashing into Sam's bags of rocks and Faz's bags of rocks. And essentially, what is going down is a sphere of rocks with the 3 of you somewhere in the middle of it. Unless Faz pulls his parachute. You look down through all of the rocks. You can see a small peninsula. You can see the sea wrapping around a long, thin area of land. There appears to be a built-up area in the middle of Sam's face. And below that, a beach. And above it, small woods. And you are heading down towards the small woods at great speed. Would anyone like to do anything?
I'd like to grab somebody quickly. I'd grab...
I'll
grab Striegos.
Okay, nice. I'm going to need an acrobatics check from both of you, because the only way you're going to do that is by tilting your bodies such that the air catches you and brings you closer together. So I want acrobatics checks, and this is it is DC 15 for Faz and DC 10 for whoever Faz is grabbing.
Rolled a nat 1.
I rolled a 20.
You rolled a nat 1? Right. This is absolutely perfect then. Faz, you reach out for Sam's his name, I've forgotten. You grasp both of his shoulders perfectly. Unfortunately, you grasp the shoulders of his clothes perfectly, and he drops straight out from in between them.
I crave the sweet release of death!
Yeah, presumably you pull your parachute at the same time.
Yep.
So Faz, you are now perfectly holding Sneagar's shirt. Your parachute is up and you are gently descending towards the woods. Beneath you are a lot of rocks and 2 goblins hurtling downwards. One of the goblins has no top on and is now freezing cold.
It's a lady goblin as well, Stephen. It's very rude of you.
Top off is top off, Sam. I'm not
I would like to cast Bardic Inspiration.
Yes,
okay.
I'm in for this. What does it do?
Well, at this point, this happened on Yorick. I just give him a 1, I think it's a 1d6. They can roll add to their rolls, and I'm gonna scream, I'm gonna live forever, and then smash into the ground.
Great. Faz, you can use 1d6 to add to anything, but not the thing that you just tried to do. You can only add it to things from now on. Okay.
Thanks.
The round ends. We're still falling. Faz, you're about 800 foot up. The other 2 of you are now 500 foot up and going extremely quickly with an awful lot of rocks. Sam, you've got no shirt. Caterina, you have used your bardic inspiration. Would anyone like to do anything?
I'd like to try and throw the clothes to somebody so they use it as a makeshift parachute. I guess acrobatics.
You're falling at terminal velocity and you're going to throw the shirt downwards.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, it's going to come...
No, I want to hear you do it.
Yeah, okay, right.
Describe to me what happens. Describe to me what happens as you
take the
try and
shirt.
throw somebody's shirt downwards.
Wind buffeting my face. The clothes smelly, just like going. I try to pull it up, and I pull my hand back, and I throw it, and it hits me right back in the face.
Roll me a d20. Roll me a d20.
I got a 16.
That's fine. It's not a 1. On a 1, it was going to take your parachute out. Right, the other two of you, you're falling at an incredible speed with no top on one of you, surrounded by rocks. Do you want to do anything?
Is there anything below us?
I would like to get as near as possible to grab one of the bags with the rocks.
Give me an acrobatics check to be able to move over to get the rocks.
10.
It's not enough, I'm afraid. It was 15 to get to something and grab it. So you kind of tilt your body and you move a little bit, but you don't get far enough to the rocks. Sam, do you want to do anything this round?
Yeah, is there anything? Can we see anything below us except for the woods?
No, you're heading down towards the woods. South of the woods, there is a built-up area. It has a number of kind of large buildings made from logs. You can't grab a lot of detail because there's a lot of rocks in the way and you're falling at terminal velocity and you have nothing over your eyes. So it really hurts when you try and look down. So you can see that there are a few large kind of log-built buildings. Some of them, like, they're really big. They are some of the biggest buildings you've ever seen. But no, beneath you is some lovely, just... oak and ash woodland.
I've got a longbow. I'd like to try and knock an arrow and fire it at those houses, just to let them know that the raiding party is incoming.
Okay, good. Well, roll me an attack roll to shoot through all of the falling rocks. You think your bloody arrow's the Millennium Falcon, don't you?
Yeah. This is a 17. Plus
no,
5.
You hit a rock.
22.
Oh, plus 5, you get through all of the rocks. Your arrow goes through all of the rocks and you see it disappear into the distance. It's only falling the same speed as you, so it will hit the building at the same time you hit the ground. So you don't see it actually hit, but you have launched it the correct direction, and it will pointlessly jab into the roof of a giant building at the same moment that you hit the ground. Faz! Beneath you, you can hear screaming goblins. You see an arrow fly out of the middle of this giant set of stones. You are gently drifting down towards the woods. Do you want to do anything?
Yeah, I'd like to cast Bless on the two goblins who are falling. So,
yes.
That means that they can take a D4 away from an attack roll or add it to a saving throw, I think.
Brilliant. That's a really good idea. The only problem is that the other side effect that the guy forgot to tell you is that every time you come back to life, you have a random curse applied to you from my curse table. And Faz, yours is genuinely this. Any spell you cast is fireball, but you don't know this. I did randomise them. We're working through the list in order. Faz killed himself on the boat, gave himself a curse. You didn't get cursed for the first fall. It's everyone after that. You get a different curse. And Faz's is any spell you cast is fireball, but you don't know this. So let me double check the mechanics of fireball.
It's gonna kill us both. It's 4d6 in an area of like 10 feet or something.
Okay. Sphere centered on that point must make a dexterity saving throw. Great. So let's have dex saving throws from each of the two goblins who are in the middle of the rocks. Cover and things like that are no good. The fire spreads.
20.
And that's your dex saving throw. Brilliant. Okay, you're only taking half 8d6 damage.
Are we blessed?
Plus 5.
So
Sam?
has the bless worked, or is this that the bless isn't happening and it's just a fireball?
There's no bless. Any spell he casts until he dies again is fireball.
It's a 3 plus 3. So that's a
All right.
6.
Okay. Good. So, Sam, I'm just going to quickly roll how much damage you take.
Butterfingers.
So Sam, you took 32 damage. Caterina, you took 4 divided by 2, 17 damage. You both are instantly burned to death. There is darkness. There is peace. You snap awake, having forgotten everything that's happened so far. You are falling at terminal velocity, surrounded by 64 bags of rocks towards a woodland that you have never seen. You hit the ground. As you hit the ground, you take 20d6 damage.
Goodness sake.
Sam, you take 67 damage. Caterina, you take 70 damage. You both die. There is darkness. There is peace.
These curses don't stack, right? Like you get a new one every time you die.
No, they don't stack. You come back to life.
Question: do all the bardic inspiration and spells reset?
Everything
when we come
resets.
back to
So
life?
you get all your spell slots back. You have full HP, but your XP also resets to 0. You are cursed to be level 1 forever. It's part of the joy of
Chosen
it.
the wrong class. Oh god.
You never get to cast spells.
I never get to do anything, Steve.
Well, that's the problem, you see, when you're pulled out of your own dimension and forced to work by the rules of this dimension. Good, right. So, Faz, can I describe to you what you see?
Okay, yes, please.
A ball of flame erupts at the centre of all of these rocks. You hear screams, burning and death. Then you hear 2 voices go, "What?" All the rocks then smash into the ground with the 2 bodies. You hear screaming, crunching, and death. There is then, from beneath you, a series of very large explosions. So now, Faz, you are gently drifting towards wood, most of which is on fire.
Okay.
This is the stealth entrance has gone, by the way, friends. You've just dropped 64 bags of rocks on the minefield. I put a minefield wood in, specially for the ranger, to be able to help you explore through using his ranger skills. But you dropped 64 bags of rocks on it, so there is a lot of exploding going on. So Faz, you're drifting down towards a wood that is it's on fire. I mean, there's patches that aren't on fire, so it won't take much of a dex roll to get you into a patch that isn't on fire. The 2 of you wake up not knowing how many times you've burned to death in the wood, which it's been a few, let's be honest. You've burned it, but now, each of you wake up, you're in a small area where nothing is on fire. There is fire around you that is slowly dissipating. If you look up, you can see a single goblin with a parachute floating down towards you. You can't remember how you got here. You have no knowledge of how you got here. The only information you have is what's written on your hands. And Faz is now within shouting distance of the 2 of you.
I
So
can
Faz
explain everything. We are it, and I use a bonus action to explain the mission, but I leave out the bit where I nuke them.
Rocks. Why are there so many rocks?
That was
There
part
are a
of
lot of rocks. It looks like the best description I could come up with is that somebody tried to build 1,000 Zen gardens and the burning of the oil fields in Iraq at the end of the first Gulf War at the same time, but in slightly smaller scale. There are rocks everywhere. Everywhere that isn't a rock is on fire. Everywhere that is a rock is not on fire because it's got a rock on top of it.
This is part of the evils of science. We've infiltrated their Zen garden of oil destruction.
Wow. Just wow. How could one person be this evil and invent science like this? Do this
I'm
for
scared.
once. Just kind of mind boggles, honestly.
Faz, what's your character wearing? Can these see up your kilt / loincloth, or are they...
I like to say I'm wearing a nice 3-piece suit.
Okay, good, so they don't have to do wisdom saving throws to retain their sanity. Perfect, right, Faz, you... I'm assuming you just fell straight down into the gap where your friends are, rather than trying to parachute anywhere. You've got about 60 feet left to fall. You can see, Faz, that there's fire all around your friends. There's about 30 feet from them to the edge of the fire, and then there's these large log buildings, one of which has an arrow stuck in the top of it. And behind them, there's about 100 feet of fire leading off to a trail. You can also hear, Faz, just over the top of the noise of the fire, you can hear a hubbub of human voices, mainly shouting, "What the fuck was that?"
I guess I'm going to sail towards my goblin friends.
Yeah. So you land. Do you want to do me a quick dex roll?
13.
Oh, perfect. Okay. You land perfectly fine. Drop your parachute. You're in a small clearing in the middle of the fire, surrounded by your two friends. The fire looks like it's starting to go out, you know. It was triggered by explosions. There's not a lot of fuel for it. A lot of stuff has burned up very quickly. There are a lot of blackened tree stumps around you. So you will be able to get through the fire and out if you go the short way. If you go the long way back to the road, it will take you a bit longer and be a bit more hazardous, but you won't burn up too badly. You land next to your friends, Faz. You've shouted the mission down to them, so we can assume now that Kat and Sam's characters know what's going on, where they are, that they were transported from another dimension, of which there are an infinite number, that in this realm they have the powers of eternal life, and that they've got a mission to destroy science. And there we go, you're all in the middle of this thing. You can hear a hubbub of humans, and you can now hear clanking and footsteps. You can't see anything yet because there's still too much fire and smoke in front of you.
I would like to hide.
Okay, where would you like to hide? Your choices are in a fire or between
Behind
some
the rock.
Behind the rock, okay. Good, you are hidden.
Wait, I'm sure there are more people here. Anyway, tree guns. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yes, that sounds like a wonderful idea.
I'd just like to ask, do the footsteps sound heavier than those that would be made by someone under the height of 4 feet?
Yes.
I feel incredibly
You can
angry.
hear footsteps crunching through gravel.
Okay. Gravel? Have some of the rocks fragmented?
Yorick, I'm thinking, it might be a good idea if we don't go near where they are. Because I have clearly died a few times, and I'm not that keen on it, honestly. As a little prospect, so I think hide would be a good idea. Just saying.
All right, yeah, we'll hide. Let's find somewhere to hide. Should we hide in the fire?
Yeah,
No, wait.
good idea.
We'll find a rock.
Yes!
Yeah, big one.
Find a big rock, please, Steve.
Yes.
So, mechanically, you've dropped enough rocks on a small space, and there have been enough explosions that there are, there's not like giant boulders that have fallen, but there's generally enough rocks around that if you pull a few together, you can kind of lie prone behind a set of rocks and just about hide. You won't really be able to see much around them. You might be able to peek through the middle, depending on how you do it. But mechanically, there's enough rocks around that you can do full cover goblin hiding.
Full cover hide, knock an arrow, please.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Yorick, the element of surprise is key to goblin success. It's what my parents probably told me, but I can't remember because I've got amnesia.
Yeah, I'm going to prepare a sacred flame.
Okay, you're all hiding. You hear footsteps getting closer and closer, and then you hear human voices talking to each other. Oh, fucking hell. What the fuck? What has happened here? I told you we shouldn't have set a minefield. Problem with a minefield is you don't put it near your buildings. Because if you set the minefield near your buildings, the mines... Listen, mines are very new. Mines are very new. We only developed them last week. Don't act like you're an expert on mines and you've set minefields before. I did actually come up with the word minefield, though. So I feel I do have a sort of deeper intellectual connection to the concept of a minefield. Well, all right, don't get all that about it. The thing is, something has set off the minefield, and when I say something, I mean all these rocks. These rocks weren't here. No, it was just trees here before. Right, so the trees... There aren't any trees here now. No, there's a lot of burned trees and a lot of broken trees because rocks have fallen on them. So what do you think happened? Why... Well, I don't know. We only invented minefields last week. I didn't realise that a side effect of a minefield is that rocks magically drop from the sky and destroy your... Do you think it was magic? I think it was magic.
Can I jump up above the rock and, knock my arrow up? Just shoot it at one of them.
I'm fucking
Okay,
good.
good.
Humans!
Sam, you jump up. You can see 3 humans. They're wearing chain shirts. They're carrying pikes. They, if you had to guess, you'd say these are guards. They're the kind of people that, cheap, high fantasy security guards. Faz,
I jump out and go, don't worry, I can de-escalate the situation. I tell them...
Wait. Sam's already jumped out, so you're about to go into initiative order, but Sam gets a free thing first.
Okay.
So, Sam, you fire an arrow, do you?
Yep.
Right, fire away. Which of the 3 ones would you like to go for? 1, 2, or 3? 3 hasn't said much.
Whoever's doing the least looking towards me, I want element of surprise.
Well, there are 2 who are arguing greatly about whether this is a built-in feature of minefields, because minefields are very new and they hadn't realised that if you lay a load of gunpowder with triggers, what happens is that it causes magical rocks to appear 1,000 feet above you. And one of them is saying that this is a thing that somebody's done on purpose.
So, third one, I want them to think that actually another inbuilt feature of laying mines with triggers is that spontaneously arrows appear. It was a 13
spontaneously generates goblins. So you come out of height. Sorry, that was 13.5. Right. What damage does it do?
4 plus 3, 7.
Okay, brilliant. You notch an arrow. One pikeman, it hits him and it fucks him up pretty bad. He's not dead, but he's extremely unhappy as your arrow sticks right into the back of his neck. He falls to his knees for a moment, reaches around. It's like, there's an arrow in my neck, and everybody goes into initiative order. Would you like to roll initiative for me, please?
8 plus 3, 11.
18.
7.
So the order is Cat, Sam, then the pikeman, then Faz. Sorry, Faz. They did roll badly, but they get +3 on the random NPC generator that I just created them on. Because the problem with a largely improvised game is you need a thing to make you. So you're fighting 3 random level 1 pikemen. Cat, you're first. There are 3 pikemen standing in front of you. You're currently in hiding. You can pop out, obviously, using your good old nimble escape goblin feature. You can pop out. What would you like to do?
How far are they?
How far are they? They are, quick maths is, they're only about 10 feet away from you. They're pretty close. You have hidden so well that they are barely any distance from you.
Okay, I'll pop out. I'll cast Touch Assiduous Laughter on one of them.
Amazing.
Not the one with the arrow in the neck, another one.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say, what do you call a goblin specializing in blood magic? A hemogoblin!
Yeah, that would only cause hideous laughter, wouldn't it?
And they need to do a wisdom saving throw.
Great. What's your spell?
A 12.
Let's see how they do. So they got a 2. One of the other 2 pikemen, the following happens. They say, rocks falling from the... It's ridiculous. It's absolutely... How can... And they fall to the ground, laughing and laughing. You've got an arrow in your neck as well. So now what you can see is one human holding a pike is now lying on he's dropped his pike, he's rolling on the floor and is falling around, and that's what is happening. One's got an arrow in his neck and is looking at his friend and he's still thinking about pulling the arrow out, and one other is looking at the 2 of them like, what is going on?
And bonus action, nimble escape, I hide in another place.
Yeah, so you run out of the vision of the one pikeman who's actually looking around, and you re-hide behind some other rocks. That's absolutely fine. Sam, what do you want to do?
So can I check changing weapons mid-combat? Are you going to take that as an action, or can I just do it?
No, that's pedantic bullshit.
I want to
play it like a computer game, you know.
Perfect. So I'm going to enter the pause screen, switch over to my short swords. I'm going to draw both of my short swords, and I'm going to start running towards them. But I want to throw both of my short swords at them. So
you're going to run at, and are you going to throw them both at the pikeman who's laughing, the one with an arrow in his neck, or the other one?
The one who's laughing.
The one who's laughing on the ground.
Yeah, because I don't appreciate his condescension. Because I believe, and I know, he's laughing because we're so fucking small. That's what this comes down to. It's elitist bullshit.
Perfect. So I need to find your character's character sheet. Your short sword thrown. How do you have a +5 to hit with your short sword thrown? That's incredible. This is such a dangerous right. You throw both. So give me 2 attack rolls.
That's an 18 and a 7.
Okay, but give me another roll on the 7. You got advantage on these attacks because he's rolling on the ground rather than actually trying to do any useful. So 1 is going to hit.
18 and 11. So.
11, yeah, plus 5? Or is that with the plus 5 in?
Plus 5, so.
Okay, so one of them hits. Give me a d6 roll.
That's a 2 plus 3, 5.
Right, so he takes 5 damage. So he's now rolling around on the ground, laughing, with a sword sticking into him.
I don't appreciate your fucking condescension.
Okay, so he
gets to make a wisdom saving throw.
He does get to make another wisdom saving throw
laughing.
to stop laughing. Yeah, he makes it this time. So he does stop. You know, the intense pain of a short sword flying and sticking into him. So this snaps him out of the laughter and he goes, wait a second, this all doesn't seem that funny anymore. Sam, there is a short sword sticking in him. There's a short sword lying next to him on the floor, sticking into the ground. His friend has an arrow sticking in his neck. It's now the 3 pikemen's go.
I'm not going to nimble escape, but I want to use the rest of my movement because I'm 10 feet away from him. I want to pick up the sword that's on the floor. I assume getting the one out of him is a bit more difficult.
The remaining pikeman who's not injured takes his pike and Sam, he steps towards you and stabs his pike towards you. What's your AC?
14.
11 plus 6.
What?
Yeah, he has plus 6 to hit. Listen, Mr. plus 5 to hit level 1 goblin. He's got plus 6 to hit with his pike. He's got 18 strength. He was randomly generated. So he does... Oh dear, you're not going to like that. He does you 11 damage.
Okay. Still hanging in, but...
You're still there! Good lad. The second pikeman, who is lying on the ground with a sword sticking out of him, he is going to get up and look around, and the other 2 goblins are in hiding, Sam. So he's going to attack you.
I know exactly where this
with
is
his
going.
spike. No, I mean, your friends have very cleverly hidden. So let's roll a d20. He's got 6 plus 6. Has he hit you? No, he hasn't. Your AC is such that you dodge away from him. The third pikeman, with an arrow sticking out of his neck, looks around, can only see 1 goblin, and attempts to hit you with his pike. He has plus 6 to hit. Let's see how he does. He's got 14 plus 6. So you're dead.
Are we doing death saves, or is that just like...
No, so you're dead. You are very dead. There is darkness and there is peace. So the other 2 of you, here's what you see, just for a moment. There's still a pikeman standing with an arrow in his neck. On the end of his pike is a dead goblin. The goblin drops off the end of his pike. There's a pikeman getting up off the floor with a sword stabbed into him. And there's a third pikeman. This is what they're saying. They're like, right, we know there's another one of them around here somewhere, isn't there? There's one of them around here somewhere. Faz, it's your go.
Yeah, I step out and I go, yeah, damn right,
What?
there's someone. And I look at them and I say, use the spell command and say, grovel.
Which one of the 3 of them are you talking to?
The one who looks like the least injured.
You cast a fireball. 20 within range. So you try to catch that on him. Each creature within a 20-foot radius sphere. So that's the radius is 20. So the diameter. Let's make a dexterity saving throw. Okay. So can we have a set of dex saving throws? And we'll see what happens. So, friends, a giant fireball explodes. The good news is Cat is entirely behind some rocks. You know, the fire will move around corners, it says, for fireball, but still, it's going to reduce its damage quite a lot to have an entire wall of rocks. Between you and it, the guy with an arrow in his neck has failed. The guy with a sword in his body has failed. The guy who's got no problems has succeeded. The guy with an arrow in him is completely immolated. There's just a pile of ash where he used to be. The guy with a sword in him is completely immolated. There is only a pile of ash where he used to be. The guy who is absolutely fine takes 4d6 damage. That is 22. He has 8 hit points. He is completely immolated. There is nothing left where he used to be. Sam, you are directly in the face of this. You're just coming back to life. You snap awake, Sam. You come back to life. You remember nothing. You immediately have to dodge a fireball that is going off. So give me a dex saving throw. You're with a DC of 12.
Yeah, it's a 1.
It's a 1. Okay, so you fail your dex saving throw. You take 8d6 damage, plus, because you rolled a 1, I'm giving you an arbitrary extra 4d6 damage for your saving throw. So let's give you 12d6 damage. That is 46 damage. Sam, you snap awake. You are immediately hit in the face by the full force of a fireball, which does you so much damage that you are immediately killed. There is darkness.
What is going on?
Faz,
Rolled
you're
an-
in range of... You rolled a...
8.
You've taken 32 damage. Kat, can you roll again? You've got advantage because you're behind some rocks.
16.
16, right, good. Caterina, can you roll 4d6 for me?
14. I'm dead.
No, you're not dead, because we're halving that because you're behind rocks. So you've taken 7 damage. Fire washes over you. You are deeply charbroiled, but you're not dead. Faz, you're dead. There is darkness. There is peace. Sam, you snapped awake. You were immediately killed again. There is darkness. There is peace. Faz, at least your curse has left you. Let me update everybody's curses. Just to remind you where you are. You're in the middle of some very burned woods. There are corpses of 3 dead humans with pikes. There are 2 dead goblins who snap back to life. Caterina, your character is the only person who knows what's going on.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell them. Listen, we have to kill a Mr. Science. He's evil, and he doesn't like goblins. If we kill him, we can live forever.
Nice.
That's a good summary of the mission.
Turns out, Mr. Science is weak to Mr. Science. So if we use Mr. Science to kill Mr. Science, we live.
I detect that you seem slightly injured, my son. I'd like to cast touch and cast Cure Wounds on Nico.
That's nice of you.
You take 8 healing points.
Who's your god, by the way, Faz?
My god is Cedric the Doorman, he who lets you in or out of the gates of paradise.
Sounds nice. Pity you'll never meet him now that you have eternal life. Mechanically, there are ways you can be killed. Power word kill will kill you properly. At the edge of the wood, there's a small path. On the other side of the path, there are 3 buildings. One is absolutely huge, one is medium-sized, and one is smaller than the other 2, but still the size of, a decent-sized family house. They're all constructed from logs. Just to give you modern-day things, the big one is like a warehouse, like a significant warehouse. The medium one is the size of biggish church, like bordering on a cathedral. A small one is the size of a family house. There are those 3 buildings. There's currently nobody that you can see outside. There were guards, Kat's character remembers, who are now dead. There is a fire gently firing around you, but it's much less fiery than it was.
Mr. Science did that. He used his evil friend Gunpowder, and we need to kill him too.
So, I'd like to have a look at their bodies if possible, just to see if, I think something that's quite effective as a goblin. I like a bit of disguise. Might be useful to dress up as some bigger people in order to get closer to this village.
I agree, yeah.
They're dressed in what would likely be called a uniform. They have chain shirts on. They have a light jacket over the chain shirt. Sorry, I've got 3 hula hoops in my mouth. They're wearing whatever it is that guards would wear. Trousers? I don't know. Just like normal human clothes. There's no like giant trench coat that you could stack yourselves underneath if that was your plan.
No, but 3'2", average human, 5'9", 5'10". Realistically, if I wore just like the chain shirt they're wearing and their hat and their coat or whatever, and just not the trousers,
Yep.
that would cover me from head to toe. I'd like to disguise myself in that.
Yeah, you could wear one of their chain shirts as a giant heavy dress. No problem.
Nice.
You can write down that you've done that. That's absolutely fine. So the 2 of you now, you can see one really oddly dressed goblin, and 2 of you. The fire is burning around you. What would you like to do?
I like what you're wearing. Which designer is it?
You wouldn't know them.
Does it have like the AC of chain armor, or is it just aesthetic? I don't mind either. It's just to note down.
The trouble with you wearing it is that it's so heavy compared to you being human chain armor that it adds to your AC, but it also subtracts the same amount from your AC because it reduces your dex. So
Cool.
mechanically, it's
nothing.
neutral. Smart ass. Yeah, you're not getting any less squishy. The
all right.
squishiness is the fun.
Nico, as our leader, can you guide us and see what action we should take?
Sure. And I start walking in a random direction, completely random.
Okay, so the cabins are south. You want to roll me a d4? We'll take north as 1 and we'll go round.
3.
Oh, you're walking south. You're walking towards the 3 buildings. As you leave the edge of the burning forest, your feet crunch onto gravel. You are directly next to a long wall of the largest of the 3 buildings, think warehouse wall. You're standing on a gravel path. It's made of these logs. There's no windows in this wall.
Is this my favourite terrain?
What, a gravel path?
Yeah.
Your favourite terrain was woodland and you blew it all up.
I
Put a load in, especially because I was like, I read that his favourite terrain was that, and you blew it all up.
Oh, well.
That was my one concession, having read your character sheets, and you dropped bombs on it.
Squishy Goblins was and will be brought to you by me, Steve Cross. I did all the editing and the production and all that sort of thing. It starred Fazalam and Sam McKay and Caterina Pace. Do join us for more episodes mixed in with all the other stuff that we'll be doing. See you next time.